Now we're going to move swiftly along to our next one. So our next panel discussion will be strengthening collaborative research and innovation networks to address global challenges. So to moderate for this one, we'd like to welcome up Ari Mazio, Professor Design Innovation at the Dubai Institute of Design and Innovation. Let's give Ari a round of applause. And then our panelists are Dr. Milagros, Regional Vice President, Philippine Statistical Association, Penny Jane, Founder and Director, Global Education Equity Alliance, and Yusuf Maximos, Lecturer at Victoria University, and Dr. Rifat Abdallah, Associate Professor, Sultan Qaboos University, and Mahima Garg, CEO, Serto Metter. Let's all give them a round of applause. Fantastic. So over to you, Ari.
Good afternoon, everyone. How are you today? I see lots of brilliant women faces around. That's a very pleasant gift for me. Welcome, everyone. I'm delighted tonight to have this fantastic panel of professors and industry partners to talk about collaboration and research and how innovation network can strengthen and address, hopefully, global changes and global problems. I try to convey with an audience that help and support also this discussion, because I do not really like the idea that we're talking between us. So please interrupt us. If you consider that our discussion is too boring, say, hey, we would like to have a question. Thank you, guys. So let's start. I'm delighted to introduce my colleagues, Yusuf, Milagros, Mahima, and Rifat. And I ask, please, to introduce yourself briefly to give the audience the opportunity to see who we are.
You can hear me? Hi, Yusuf Maximos. I'm a sports management lecturer based in Sydney, Australia. I know there's a few Aussies in the room, or they were before. You can see that I don't look Australian, so if you're expecting a blonde, blue-eyed guy who likes surfing, that's not me. I was actually born in Egypt, so I came from this region of the world all the way to Australia, but I spent the majority of my life there. So I've been lecturing for around 8-9 years, but I'm heavily involved in football, and football is soccer. Yeah? So if there's any Americans in the room, football, I'm talking about the round ball. And so I coach. So I'm in academia, but I'm also coaching as well. And I'm completing my PhD in curriculum design. So it's heavily educational focused, but in sport. So that's me.
Welcome, Yusuf. Milagros?
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone. I am Dr. Milagros Baldimore, a professor, adjunct professor of Asian universities. I have been teaching for 39 years now and still connected with different organizations in the international level. I am a co-organizer, a session chair, and a stream organizer of international conferences held in the different continents of the world. So at present, I'm still doing a lot of researches, and I also give lectures in research in mathematics and statistics. Thank you.
Mahima?
Yeah. I have been into another panel, so I have given my introduction, but just repeating a few things about myself. I run an organization, Serto Meter, where we help people to learn IT technology in a much interesting way, and we have developed a platform where people feel more engaged, and it's all about reskilling and upskilling. I have been in this education industry more than 20 years, and we are helping educators and we are helping learners to learn their skill faster.
Thank you so much. Rifat?
Good afternoon. My name is Rifat Abdallah. I am an associate professor of geoinformatics with Sultan Qaboos University. I have over 20 years diversified experience in industry, government, and academia. And it's also dispersed international experience from mostly in this region and in North America. So I worked in between Sudan, Pakistan, Qatar, UAE, Saudi Arabia, and Oman recently. For the last 7 years, I've been in Oman. I also lived in Canada for about 20 years, and I'm still connected to Canada, so worked in UK as well. So I have published 9 books as a single author or as a co-author or editor or co-editor, and there are 2 books in pipeline now, mostly produced in March, and that's about it.
Okay, so I'd like to ask you myself a question first, and then we start answering. It's about the idea of collaborative research and about how much networking and innovation networking in particular can contribute to really create research and collaboration. Did you heard about it before? Seems no. Yes? Okay, I will give you a little nutshell with some story based on real-world solution that my colleagues and I provide. Then we will discuss together. Let's start with Yusuf. What about your story, please?
Yeah, so I'll take this opportunity to talk to you about my current research. So it's a PhD project, which I'm almost finishing. And so, like I said before, because I'm involved in football, in sport, we do have a curriculum. So it's not just, when it comes to talent development, it's not every club or every institution, going at it their own way. So the case study that I selected for my research was the National Football Curriculum for Australia. And what's interesting is that the data that I've produced or got out of that shows that, okay, you've got this 200 plus page document that the intent is that every coach from, coaching children from 6 years of age to 18 should use. The document is very heavily leaning towards prescription. So this is the way that a coach should coach, or maybe in another context, teachers. So if you're in a classroom, this is the way that a teacher must teach. And the idea behind that is that if everyone in the country, we've got 2 million participants playing football, if every coach coaches this particular way, then we've got a greater chance of becoming a world champion. That's their mentality. And that's fine, we're not critiquing that. What we're critiquing is, and like I said, what the data's shown is that not many coaches are using this anymore. This document was first produced in 2009, followed by another iteration in 2013. If you look at our world rankings, it went from, I think, around 25, 30 in the world, and it dropped to under 100. So shouldn't this document be helping produce talent? Another data that came out was the playing minutes for our professional players, so Australian players playing in the top leagues in the world. Okay, not that long ago we had players all over in the UK, in Italy, all over. Now I don't think we've got any players. So in terms of talent, if the aim of the document was to produce top-level talent, then something's happened, something's not working. And so that's what led me to investigate, okay, what's the core document that's helping or intending to produce talent? Oh, it's the football curriculum. Okay, let's have a look to see what's happening there. And just very briefly, I won't go on too much about this, but what we've found is that the content of the curriculum may be a problem because it's too prescriptive. You're telling the coach this is the only way that you can coach, or like I said, in another context, if you're a teacher, this is the only way that you can teach. So the data that came out, because it's qualitative-based research, all the participants were saying, I'm made to feel that this is the only way that I can coach. And so if I have a creative player, or again, a creative student, and I know I've heard this so many times in the panels before this one, then they get a little bit stuck. Okay, well, how do I, what do I do with this type of talent? They don't know. And so the research, like I said, is qualitative. It's leaning towards the reasons behind why is the talent drying up, and that's where it's focused.
Thank you so much. So keyword here are curriculum, qualitative methodologies, and if I may say, co-design, which means a different approach of versus prescriptive information. Milagros.
I am already a seasoned researcher. I started making researches since my college days. And I usually deal with quantitative research. But sometimes, in some cases, I do mixed method, a combination of qualitative and quantitative research. In my researches, I use data envelopment analysis. It is a program, a statistical package. And here, I measure the performance efficiency of students, of colleges, of universities, and so on. And I focus on equality in education. So which is one of the pressing problems, a global challenge these days. So to see to it that each learner would get equality in terms of education, I make sure that the outcome of my research is always disseminated. So when we say equality in education, it is where the learner could obtain the same privilege, the same focus in learning and others. So it is only when we push these students to achieve equality in education that they could reach their goals in life. So we treat them equally, regardless of different religions, different nationalities, and so on, because we also have international students in our school. So making researches without disseminating it is useless. If you just keep the results in your locker, then it's not a good one. That's why we are making researches, because the results of these researches are used in decision making. So it is the best way of making decisions. So it's only then that we could contribute in the field of education. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So keywords, quantitative methodologies, equality, decision making. Mahima.
Okay. I would relate this to IT education. In technology, all of us are using ChatGPT, AI. So the last year, I think it's been long we are listening that ChatGPT and AI would replace humans. If not all, but some of the jobs would go away. And there were a lot of discussion, is it good or bad, how should we take it? There were a lot of trainings, happening. But what we have realized, I'll just share my story here. I was fortunate enough to be a part of a research team where, people from different countries came to India, one from the South Africa, one from Europe, one from US, and some of us from India and from China, and they were doing a collective research how AI can be positively, impact the industry in education and other industry. And the other side, some of them were, doing the research how negatively it can impact, because whenever the new technology comes, it actually impacts in a both way. And how do we help our people to learn the technology in a right way? So it was an excellent opportunity, and you would be wonder if I say many of the companies across globe have banned the ChatGPT and AI to use to when they write the code, because the moment I write my problem there and ChatGPT give me solution and I use it in my real coding environment, that means I am leaking the secret, what code I have used in my software. So it is the biggest security threat. So many of the organization, imagine a field of banking. If banking people using their code through ChatGPT, how vulnerable it could be. And other people can definitely crack that. So these are the, when we think about innovation, when we think about research, so it's not only knowing all the technology and jumping how to solve it, quickly get the solution. We should always learn how to use it effectively, when not to use technology, when not to use any of these things to work better. So technology would not replace humans. It would only help us to do better. So my suggestion is always try to learn technology so that you are aware, you can do better in whatever work you do. And technology can always be there only to support you. Thank you.
Thank you. So keywords, if I may say, it's learning enhanced technology, digital ethics and aspects regarding the use of technology and positive impact. Rifat.
Actually, I will talk about the interdisciplinary nature of research. And when we talk about research in general, before talking about any case study or any application, I'd like to go back to the classification of research itself. So if we classify research into qualitative methods or quantitative methods or mixed methods or experimental methods or action methods, we find all these are like multidisciplinary or interdisciplinary intakes. So we find statistics works with mathematics, with science. And there is another also classification if we talk about research as scientific research, trying to come up with new discoveries and new knowledge, or applied research, trying to work with solving real-world problems through applied research, through our existing knowledge, or talking about research from like decision-making and operational side, so how operational research is conducted and how operational research can solve some issues related to decision-making. So in all these classifications, we find research is like team-based intake or interdisciplinary-based intake. So it is collective effort. Different disciplines work together, trying to solve complex issues. They try to come up with solutions beyond the geographic boundaries, beyond the regional boundaries, beyond the communication boundaries, with just the foundation of knowledge, foundation of science, and they go forward. So by nature, humans are inquisitive, and they try to come up with answers to their day-to-day problems, and they try to innovate and go beyond what is today for what's coming tomorrow. So by taking this, and it's been practiced all over the world nowadays, they are trying to merge the traditional boundaries between disciplines. So if we take, like, for example, my son is studying neuroscience. So if you took neuroscience as a knowledge or discipline, you will find it's taking chemistry, it's taking physics, it's taking mathematics, it is taking computer science, it is taking all these domains together to solve specific problems related to the neurons and to signals that are coming from the brain. To talk about more practical solution, I will talk about real case studies that we did in Oman. And this case study is related to simulation and modeling of hurricane activities in the coastal area of the city of Muscat. And Muscat is the capital city of Oman. It has 4 districts. Those 4 districts are all having coastal side. So since 2006, Oman has been vulnerable to hurricanes. From Hurricane Gono, took over around 2006, to Hurricane Shaheen, which about 2 years ago. So what we try to do, we try to collect data, and this data was also multidisciplinary or interdisciplinary, like meteorological data related to rainfall, related to wind speed, related to sea surface, sea level, or water surface elevation, related to population, related to businesses distribution and business districts in the area, related to digital elevation models of the city and how that might be affected. And what we try to do, we try to simulate and predict the areas that are more prone or at high risk if there is coastal overflow as a result of the hurricane. In addition to the rainfall, what will happen, how population will be affected in those areas, and we come up with simulation to what the situation might be, and it's published research. If anybody is interested to learn more, I can provide the citation of the paper.
Keywords: climate change, complexity, multidisciplinary research methodologies. And now it's my turn to share with you the example of, let's call it the Sustainable Research Collaborative Framework, and in the same time, an applied project. The Dubai Institute of Design Innovation, where I'm working as a professor of design innovation, was chosen by His Majesty King Charles, together with other 3 major institutes and university, the Royal College of the Arts, RISD, and the Indian Institute of Design, to be part of the Terra Carta Lab. This is a challenge-based project through the curriculum where each student in a group and playing as team, interdisciplinary team, can design and co-create solutions to address global challenges relating to sustainability. This project is still ongoing, but the idea behind it, it's very relevant because it's about the collaboration of public and private partnership, stakeholders that are not only related to the academia, but they are tackling and informing the reality of our society, such as startup, corporate, institution, association, municipality, hospitals, governments. And with that, I like to, if you don't mind, have a second round of a wishful question, and then we go back to you, to your questions, in relation to my colleagues. That is about which is your favorite stakeholder or the dreamer stakeholder you would love to collaborate with if you have the opportunity. Yusuf.
Yeah, so with my research, I was presenting in a conference in Holland, excuse me, in Holland last year, and there was a representative from FIFA also in the room, and he invited me to come and present to all these different people in FIFA. And what FIFA are doing, just to give you a little bit of a background info, is that they've got delegates that go all over the world to try and spread their talent or the methods of best practice for talent development all over the world. So the idea was that if that didn't exist, then Europe would keep going higher and higher and higher, especially with, the wealth of the Premier League and some other leagues. And, the nation like England and all of that will keep rising. And then all the other countries like Vanuatu or even, here in the Gulf, could be the Emirates and things like that, these federations aren't going to excel the way that they should be. And so these experts there, what they're doing is trying to gather as much information, obviously research-based, innovative methods, and again through the keyword that Ara just said, collaborative research and networking, to be able to gather as much information, data as possible to spread that to all the countries all over the world. And so what this professor did was to invite me to speak to their experts about my research, and so when Ara, you said, where would I like to be? This is very fortunate that it's already happening, but it's a situation where I can see the research, in action. So basically, one of the issues that FIFA are dealing with is that, you know, there could be a country or a nation with the ideal curriculum, could be in England or it could be in Spain, but they go and take this to another country, it could be the Emirates or it could be Qatar, it could be anywhere, and the talent isn't being developed, it's not responding to the way that it worked in the other country. And again, because I like to, apply this in context, is like taking a school curriculum from the US and then taking it to Fiji and saying, okay, obviously this is what you're meant to do, and this is the way that, you do it, and after 5, 6 years, you'll see your students flourish and it doesn't work. So same thing in sport as well. So you can't take a template, or not really a template, but you can't take a model that's, even if it's worked somewhere, and then apply it somewhere else in a different context or in a different culture. Not only stats, but research has shown that hasn't worked. So again, just to answer your question.
If I understood well, your stakeholder is sport organizations.
Sport organizations that are of different levels, so national federations all the way down to clubs, to academies too.
Wonderful. Milagros.
Hello. I work with stakeholders from the different academies. So since I am a member of the European Organization for Operations Research under the bigger umbrella of International Federation of Operations Research Societies, I have met my collaborators in different international conferences. So we work on the different indicators where we measure the performance efficiency of the different universities where we belong. So it's in the field of instruction, research, extension, production, and so on. So in this way, after coming up with different results, we learn from each other, especially universities from the developing countries like Indonesia, Malaysia, Mongolia, and so on. We learn a lot from developed countries like universities from the United States, from Europe, and so on. So in that way, we learn from the best practices of those universities, especially those who are in the rankings of universities in the world. So it's always a give and take, and we can always use the results to improve the universities, the institutions where we belong.
Thank you. So if I understood well, the stakeholder are international universities worldwide. Thank you.
Okay, we help, learner to use technology and learn technology. So anyone, any organization who want their workforce to be trained with latest technology, or any college or university, they want to include any technology, if they want to upskill, and in the corporate, if they want to reskill their technical knowledge, they can collaborate with us. Thank you.
Thank you, Mahima. So if I understood correctly, it's all about reskill and upskills for any organization that need it. Thank you. Rifa.
Yeah, actually, I think for me, talking about strengthening collaboration, so we make our collaborations stronger in the region and internationally. So specifically with government organizations, like building trusted data sharing networks. Always there are some issues dealing with the data from one organization to another. There are international standards for dealing with the data. These international standards are ongoing and they are progressing very well. And there are some also promising initiatives in the region here, talking about the GCC or the Gulf Cooperation Council. So if we talk about Saudi Arabia, for example, the Saudi Survey Authority, they have active portals. They share the data with anyone who is using the data and who is interested to have it within the copyright and protection limits. Saudi also have the King Abdullah University for Science and Technology. It is completely postgraduate university for science and technology that is well connected internationally with MIT, with Columbia University, with other universities all around the world, and they hire international students from different parts of the world to conduct research. Talking about Qatar, we have Qatar Foundation. Qatar Foundation is very supportive to building collaborations and to building partnerships with other entities all over the world, and they provide very generous funding for international projects. And they encourage scientists and researchers from the region to collaborate internationally and to build partnerships with the international community. Talking about UAE here in Emirates, there is UAE Space Agency, and it's a new space agency, but it is progressing very strongly and very well. And they have also funding for strategic research, and they have funding for new ventures, for entrepreneurship, for technology transfer, and they encourage students and researchers to work with them, and they have some missions. They send some astronauts to the space and so on. So in general, my ambition is for strengthening partnerships, building a stronger partnership, dissolving the boundaries in terms of sharing information and sharing data, and expanding internationally with the global community.
Thank you. So the keywords here are, if I get correctly, governments, technological center, other foundations or institutions. So guys, it's your turn. Any questions? Yes. Please, Milagros.
I would like to take this opportunity to invite you to attend the Euro Conference 2024. It's Euro 2024 conference to be held in Denmark. It will start on June 30 to July 3. So I am the session chair of the session under education. Thank you.
Perfect. This is a practical example how innovation networks and collaboration can go in action and practice. If no questions are taken from the audience, I would like just to conclude and to say thank you very much for your attention, and I hope that those information can be actionable and operational for everybody. Thank you again.
Wonderful. Thank you very much.